Hey guys, this week I got a chance to get my hands on some files from Dragon Trapper's Lodge. Company making files for your 3D printer. Print them at home, paint them, have fun with them, right? They were just looking for some painters to print some up and give their honest feedback on them. It's not a paid advertisement or anything, so this will just be my thoughts and my painting experience with them. If you're interested, stick around. We'll take a look. When I first looked at this, I saw that there was a lot of opportunity for this symbol, the pipe smoke, and a little bit of OSL coming off it. I got this as a pre-supported file, made it really simple to print up, and overall it came out really clean. First disclaimer though, I did put 2 of these on my print bed, and I'm glad I did, because she's got a pipe that goes to her mouth, and on the first one that I tried to get off the supports, it snapped that pipe off. More than likely it was just me being too careless, but it's something to note. There was a lot of stuff on here that came out really nice. On the top of the hat there was texture, on the swords there was texture on the grip, stuff that you wouldn't normally expect to come out on a print that small. For this one I'm going to try and keep my palette pretty limited. My main colors are going to be golden brown, purple, bold pyro red, and blue. Here's a little bit of a size comparison for you. You can see just how small this is. In order to make this a simple scheme, I decided to use golden brown for the skin. The only variation in it is going to be caused by either adding white to tint it or adding black to shade it. The robes I'm basing in purple, and then I'll come back in with blue later on to play with the shadows. For this sash, it's a base of bold pyro red, and I did cheat a little bit later on. I decided to put in some orange with my reds. As I was tinting those reds with a white, it was just getting too pink, so I decided to use the orange. Another option would have been to use a little bit of the golden brown and white. That would have also preserved a little bit of the color. I just wasn't thinking that far ahead at the time. And here's that golden brown tinted with some white, just to get the highlights and start building up a little bit of dimension into this fur. For the hat, since it had that texture on there, I decided that I wanted to go ahead and try and dry brush that. Turns out that the dry brushing did not take as well. I'm not sure if it's because of my print, or just because the definition on the model is not actually deep enough to pick up the dry brush. So instead, I just ended up cross-hatching it with red. I then decided to bring my white in and just do a little bit of edge highlighting on certain parts of the rim. It's just a quick and easy trick to try and force the eye to look towards certain areas. The blue and purple really played well on this cloak together. The blue sat down into the recesses, while I kept the purple up on some of the raised areas. Then to push my contrast a little bit further, added some white into my purple and came back and hit the extreme highlights. Again, the detail on the sash printed out extremely well. The horizontal striping on it left some really good raised areas and some really nice recesses that I could run my brush along pretty easily. Next up, a little bit of magic in a bottle, Egrex Earthshade Gloss. This stuff will not stay on the raised surfaces. Because it's the gloss variety, it's much more prone to get into the recesses. And then of course, after using anything like that, it's time to come in and clean it up a little. I broke from my color scheme a little bit, and I decided to grab some silver and gold. I think it plays really well off the purple, and it's pretty classic in the combination scheme. Now to give this a little more stylized feel, I'm coming back in with my black, and I'm picking out all the different areas where the sash meets the robes, where the gold trim on the robe meets the purple on the robe, anywhere that I want to define the area and create a little bit of volume. Alright, time to play with that smoke. I've been saving this. Smoke is a really interesting one since it's darker towards the top and on the outside and a little bit brighter on the inside because of the light coming out of the pipe itself. As I went on, you can see my color palette just kind of expanded a little bit. I promise I had the best intentions starting with 4. For the pipe and the symbol, I added in the bright yellow green. Once again, I felt like the green would play really well off the reds. And since I had green on both sides and the red in the center, I just thought it would complement really well. Here I'm just adding more white, pushing my highlight, adding more white, pushing my highlight. I already knew the majority of the base was going to get covered up by all these foxtails, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. The detailing on it was nice. It was a little bit flat, but you could actually tell what was going on. Now it's time to drill a little hole in the middle and get that spot ready. A little super glue to keep Grandmother Snow on the base, and a little bit more to keep the spell on her hand. I'm not really sure how the spell is supposed to be supported. I thought about doing some clear resin rods maybe, but then I just decided I'd rather attach it directly to the model. Going back and giving it one more look over, decided to make a couple more touch-ups, added a little black onto the swords, and then added a little bit more black onto the very top of the smoke. Alright, so after painting this thing up, what do I think? I think it's pretty good. I think it's an interesting model, something I hadn't seen before. The details on the robe and the sash held really well. It gave me some really good texture to work with. I think the biggest downside for me was honestly just the pipe breaking on the first model. Luckily I had a second one on that same print, but I could see where going back and reprinting it for that would be a little frustrating. When it comes right down to it though, it was a pre-supported file, the supports did their job, and it's an enjoyable model to paint, so even having a small issue like the pipe, I'd still print it again. If you're looking for files to print at home, go ahead and head on over to Dragon Trapper Lodge. Take a look at it, and if it's models that you're interested in, give them a try. From what I can tell, they're a good model, well sculpted, well supported, and pretty fun to paint. And that's it for this one. Thanks for hanging out with me, listening to me ramble. If you found anything interesting, or you got any comments or questions, go ahead and put them down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one.